Hello everyone. Today we have with us Dr. Tania Bose. She currently works as an assistant professor at the Institute of Bioinformatics and Biotechnology in Savitribai Phule Pune University in Pune, India. She has received a number of scholarships and awards like National Scholarship from MHRD for 10th, 12th and BSc, UGC Fellowship for PhD, Gordon Research Conference Travel Award, Postdoctoral Research Associateship for 6 years at Stowers Institute, DBT Ramalinga Fellowship, DBT IYBA Award, AMBO Fellowship for Travel, and Journal of Cell Sciences Travel Award. We are honored to have you here, ma'am, and we welcome you.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, firstly, we would like to know more about your educational background.
Um, so my educational background goes back to Calcutta, where I did my schooling. I was actually very fortunate enough to have friends, and followed by that, I did my BS, MS, both from Calcutta University. And it was when, after my masters, I started thinking, what should I be doing? And being in my kind of a house where both my parents are academicians, there was kind of no choice. I mean, if I told them that I wanted to enter and do an MBA, it would not have been taken that well if I told them, okay, I want to do a PhD. It would have been appreciated. Um, so some of these very well-known household names of scientists, even as a matter of fact, women scientists like Dr. Ashima Chatterjee. All these were like, came up in conversations with my family. But when I started to do my PhD, I started visiting those places and the chemistry labs, and we saw where, Dr. Ashima Chatterjee, she used to sit and she had a lab. And that kind of made you think, oh my God, there are women out there in those days also who have done something for themselves, for India, and for the world. Then you start thinking that, okay, I want to pursue science, and as you start working with your scientific project for your PhD life, you get more interested with it. I mean, I was working with something totally different from what I work on. It was with respect to diabetes and different drugs, and working on mice models of making them diabetic and to check if we could rescue these effects with the help of certain drugs. And this kept rolling. Um, Actually, even during my PhD years, there were more girls in our department, in the biophysics department, than there were boys. And moreover, at my home, my mother has been working since we were born. Um, so that was also something that encourages us a lot, to do something. And then post my PhD, I got married, but since I was still on my PhD, I had to spend a few years more before I could join my husband. And then I was looking for labs in the US, and I was interviewing various places. And when I interviewed with someone called Dr. Jennifer Gurton, and she asked me a couple of questions, and I was like, okay, I need to answer this, and I got through that interview. And she has also been very instrumental in, you know, making my thought processes develop. And she used to work non-stop, say till 5:30. She would go home, and then even when we used to come to the lab at 9 o'clock to give inoculations or anything, we would still find her there, um, working, giving some cultures for the next day's preps. So we thought, if they can do it, why can't we?
Yes, ma'am. We also think that it is very necessary for women to see other women role models so that they can gain confidence in themselves that if these women can do, then we can also do. And this is one of the reasons for us starting this blog.
Yeah, true, very true.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, could you tell us more about your current work?
So my current work was I'll tell you in two parts. Since part of my PhD, I spent a lot of time doing genetics, and my postdoc lab also, we had done genetics thoroughly. So I thought, why not make use of some of the things that I have studied so far? So taking cues from there, I started thinking about some of the neurodegenerative diseases, like which has adult onset, like you have Huntington's disease and ALS, and you would like to understand the basic molecular mechanism behind it, and what may be the drugs that could be useful in helping to combat these diseases. And then, as a part of my postdoc work, also, I had been working on a lot of birth defects. But in India, we noticed that there is no preconceived notion amongst expecting mothers for the purpose of genetic counseling. Nothing is done in a very systematic manner with respect to the South Asian subcontinent. And I was working with a disease where the chromosomes fail to segregate out, and they give rise to a large number of developmental defects. And these defects are seen in newborns. They actually can be screened in newborns, but people tend to confuse it with other genetic disorders. Like these children, they tend to give out a very uh, cat mewing-like syndrome. So it was also called cry-to-chat syndrome. It was equally prevalent in Maharashtra, Bengal, northern parts of India, southern parts of India. So with respect to disease also, this particular disease also, I'm working on trying to find how it works, what could be the drugs that we could help to better or ameliorate these diseases. So this is like in a nutshell and telling about the work that I do.
Yes, ma'am. There is a lot of, I mean, a lot of encouragement needed to do such work, and also awakening about this diseases is needed in Maharashtra. I guess in India as well. So I guess it is a very interesting research.
Yeah. And
Uh,
like even from the government, you are given a lot of funding opportunities to pursue, um, neonatal screenings, or make the people aware. The main part is maybe in the city proper. Say maybe we are looking at Mumbai, the larger cities of Maharashtra, like Pune. There is probably genetic counseling for the mothers. When they are going to give birth, or they are aware. But when we look into the villages, with respect to India, there is a kind of little bit inadequacy with respect to genetic counseling. Of course, we have a lot of workers who work with the government, but still we can always do something to improve on these conditions.
yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in 5 to 10 years of span, what do you hope to accomplish in terms of your work and research?
Um, this is the typical question that a graduate student or a postdoc is asked during a one-to-one interview. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And now, when you are a PI, of course, you can't answer. So the thing is, we make very slow progress. We probably find one molecule, but then that gives rise to a second lead, and then you have to follow up that second lead. But the concept of this genetic counseling, you know, setting up of these ultrasounds for the pregnant women, uh, these awareness programs can definitely be implemented, which and then doing some kind of chromosomal testings, um, to make the expectant mothers aware as to what they are facing. This is a part of my job. This can be done, but the um, research part of it, the science part of it, where you come across one molecule and you think, okay, this is giving you some good data. You may have, or you have a paper out of it, um, but then it gives you a second lead. Maybe you have, if you consider it on a scale of 1 to 10, you have proceeded to 5, but you need to go to 10. So this is where we stand. So even I would say in a matter of 5 years, you will get your lead molecule. But then in the next 5 years, you need to pursue your lead molecule.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, ma'am, we would like to ask you that do you agree that women lack representation and recognition in STEM?
I do agree, and I also find that if we look at the European continent, the European nations, the EU, they have a lot of actually programs for the women. India also has a few programs. We are coming up with more and more day by day, but the policies also we need to think and change to give women, you know, these opportunities. So, I read somewhere one PI had written, and she's an established PI at Switzerland, that with the start of lockdown, they found that less number of women scientists papers as first authors, that is decreasing, you know because when you are a woman, you have to be doing something for the house, for the family. That is kind of like into our heads from day zero, since the world started. So we need to give the opportunity to the women at home also, like and this is the responsibility of every single person. I mean, we need to change our whole entire way of thinking. Why should it be them who would be taking care of the house, taking care of the children? I mean, of course, they get support from their partners, husbands, friends, but still, we need to think differently. It's the time. It's high time now.
Yes, ma'am. This mentality should be changed actually.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, we would like to ask you that it is difficult. Is it difficult for you or any woman to balance her personal as well as professional life being a woman, and how do you manage it?
Uh, Speaking about myself, I have two kids. Both are they are girls, and and I really enjoy, like as they are growing up. Um, it's tough, but it's I won't say it's not entirely not doable. You also have to have the urge in you. I won't tell you that some days also I also feel like no, I can't get it rolling anymore. I need to stop. But then I think of my mother and how she brought us up. So you have to balance your work and your private life. I mean, your family is also important to you. That you need to tell yourself. I mean, after the entire day's work, when you come back home, I think if you spend time with your family, that will help a lot with your, the work pressure and everything else. It's it's doable. Or I can say it's doable. I mean, as I told you, I have so many friends who are doctors, and even at this time, like they are going to the hospital, they are coming home, and they are taking care of the children. Of course, they have household helps and very supporting parents and parents-in-laws. But still, I mean, we all are doing it, so it's the same thing for everyone. But we can do it.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, did you ever have the impression that things would be easier or harder if you were a male?
Um, I actually have the opportunity of seeing my husband, who is a scientist. Um, for men in India, they don't get paternal leave. I mean, to the point, 5 years from now. I don't know if the norms have changed right now, but even for men, things need to change. I mean, in Europe, you do get leave if you are a father, or even in the US, like um, if you are on a tenure track position, for a mother, you might get 2 years if you have, depending on the number of kids you have. So in India, we even they need to compete. a lot. Of course, maybe things maybe slightly easier for them because they are not uh, as involved with the children. Because here in India, the mother knows everything. It's supposed to know everything. But I won't say it's a complete bed of roses for them either. I mean, they also have their struggles. Maybe a tad less, but
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we believe that patriarchy is something that has, over the time, hurt women as well as men. So it's not like that it has only been against women, but it has also led us in believing gender roles, which has been a disadvantage for even men to work.
true, true. Like, so my kids get sick and our daycare is closed, so we have to, we normally do share our responsibility. So maybe the morning half of the day, my husband stays with the children, and the second half, I go for work. And you have to balance it. We need, even for men also, they also need flexible work hours because maybe they are married, they have a family, they have kids. Even the workplaces also need to consider flexible working hours for men, um, and also give them leaves. Maybe they don't need as much leaves as maternity leaves or anything. Um, because when my daughter was born, my younger one, I was in Calcutta. I mean, I always my parents and parents-in-law have always supported me in whatever I have done. But my husband wasn't even there because it was a very important meeting that he had to attend, and it was part of his job. I had my family around me, but it would make a difference if working places also understand a man's role in the family and give them flexibility of working hours.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, what, according to you, should the scientific system change in it so that we attract more women in STEM?
As far as I know, since I was a student in the biophysics department, it was not there in our days, but I knew many of the students. If they are a girl children in the family, they are entitled to a lot of stipendship, and it really does help them not to drop off from their studies, even to carry on their studies from after 12th standard onwards, and then. These policies have been introduced in the government, but we still need to work on this further. We need more awareness, actually. We need more people to come out and tell their stories. It may not be a successful story, but it could tell you the struggle that they went through. At least they have achieved something. So we need to bring in more younger minds, I mean, with respect to women also. So the government policies are like nurture them while they are young. So, and I think girls, if I would say when we were in school or in college, there were lots of girls studying with us, really bright, but they dropped out maybe after even their masters, even after doing their PhD, because they had household duties, other responsibilities, getting married early. But even we need to make them aware that even doing these things, we can have a job. I mean, we can pursue further studies. I mean, all around the people around us, we all need to change. To be honest.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, what message would you like to give your younger self?
The message I would like to give my younger self is, I mean, if I was born in today's time, I would try to say, like, push forward even more than you have done before, because I know the opportunities that lie before us. Keep pushing till you reach your goal.
Yes, ma'am, that is a very nice message, which every young girl should keep in mind and follow that.
I mean,
So,
maybe we cannot pursue it like every single day. Maybe there would be a drop in the curve, a dip in the curve. But then, second day, okay, but still I haven't lost it. I can keep going. This should be at the back of our mind.
yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, lastly, we would like to know three men or women who inspires you.
Um, when I was doing my BS, we had a college professor who used to take studies of the animal kingdom. I found it fascinating, and I thought I would always do my PhD in ecology. Um, I didn't like genetics at all, but he used to teach us genetics in such a way connected to the animal kingdom, the lower group of animals, that made it very fascinating for us. So, he is one who is instrumental for me in pursuing biology as a career. So his name is Dr. Pranab Kumar Ghosh. Then also my PI was very instrumental in shaping, even when today I sit for 2 minutes, I think, why am I wasting my time? So he made it a point to check on us and tell us that how important the current time is for us. And we had a very senior professor in our department, Professor Utpal Chaudhary. Um, One day I had really left the lab and I was never going to return anymore. He saw me near the canteen and he called me. He said, let's have a chat. And then he told me about his life, when he did his PhD and postdoc and everything. And he told us that this is a very insignificant part of life, because you are feeling bad because this has happened. And I think that day was a turning point. So he's been very instrumental um, for me to carry on with my PhD work. And when I started off with my postdoc, I was fortunate enough to see women PIs who are like uh, the best in their field. Jen, who was my postdoc mentor, as I told you, like she used to come at 8:30 in the lab or maybe 8 o'clock in the lab, keep things going. If her kids are sick, still she used to drop by. She used to keep her experiments going, um, uh, writing papers, doing presentations, helping us with those presentations. And um, so if you, I could just go on with the list because I have seen so many women PI doing their jobs so great and never ever once telling people that I'm a woman, I deserve special credit. And this is also something we need to keep in mind. Okay, we open it up for women, but we also need to give those women who deserve the credit, right? You have to be equally competitive with the men with respect to your work. It's going to be hard, but and challenging. I mean, but still you have to push yourself to keep it going. I guess that's what I have learned.
Yes, ma'am. So, okay, it's the key is to keep going on. Whether what was the yesterday, what was it like, the next day will be different. So
Yeah.
we should have that change of attitude the next day and just keep on moving.
And then we had a maths teacher in my school. She used to say, smart is not the way you dress up, not the way you look. Smart is how you do your maths, your science, your English. So these are the things that has been kind of imprinted on my mind. So this is also one message that women should understand.
Yes, ma'am. This is the very important message that I guess everyone should understand. So, okay, thank you, ma'am. We would really thank you for the time, and we hope that this would make a tiny change in our system and will inspire a lot of women to move forward. Thank you so much, ma'am.